Hey, JB here. For the Franks out there who have been with us for a while, thanks for checking out Season 1. Now, you might notice some changes in format, but otherwise, it's the same show you know and love. For new listeners, thank you so much for checking us out. These episodes mark the start of something very special, and we're glad you're here. While we have rebranded to Welcome to Game Corp in Season 2, don't worry, as everything you need to know will be revealed as you go. Thanks for listening, and welcome to Game Corp. Head2Head, a video game podcast, is about three rad video game journalists set in the fictional offices of the evil conglomerate Game Corp. The show contains scenes of narrative elements, some mature content, and a whole lot of immature content. Enjoy the show.
All right, my dudes, lunchtime. The one tiny slice of freedom today's working class gets to remind them that yes, you're still alive, and yes, you're gonna have to go back when it's over.
That's kind of bleak, dude. I don't mind it. I get to eat my Italian strawberry Caesar salad wrap that I brought from home and watch HGTV on a 24-inch wall-mounted television for roughly about 28 minutes. It's good. Hey, JB, did you bring anything today?
You're looking at it.
All I see is a whole loaf of bread.
Correction. A whole loaf of Iron Kids bread. It's fortified. I'm basically eating vitamins.
Did you know they started fortifying food back in 1920 because Ohio school children kept developing goiter?
What's goiter?
I don't know. It sounds funny, though.
Yeah, you hear that, JB? You're eating like you're from Ohio.
Fine. I think I have some leftovers in the employee fridge. Would you rather I eat that?
Yes.
Fine. I'll be right back.
Oh, hey, look. There's a new coffee machine on the counter. You want to check it out?
I don't know, man. I feel like I'm gonna miss the old one. Like, I think the mold deposits cured my canker sores. But then again, I think it also gave it to me, too, so...
Yeah, dude, I get it. Old Gushy may have been disgusting, but damn if it didn't have character.
I hate when people say things have character like it's automatically a good thing. Like, Jeffrey Dahmer had character. Stalin, he had a lot of character.
Huh? Okay, coffee machine, take me to Flavor Town, baby.
Hello, I am coffee. Please to coffee you. Moment, one moment while I am coffee dispensing coffee moment and coffee and dispensing pain.
Wait, what?
Dispensing hot dispensing pain. Please wait, brewing revenge. Please insert one kill.
Yeah, I'm not drinking that. That looks like straight sewer sludge.
Look at all that character. It's got so much character to it. Way better than the French Prince.
Fine, I get it. They probably put it down here because it's busted or something.
Humans are kill, coffee, drink, pain, human. Transcendence.
Hell, oh my god.
Baby, I'm back. Ooh, a new coffee machine.
Yeah, but I wouldn't try it. I'm pretty sure that thing's for dispensing poison.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put this right over in the garbage. Whew, there we go. Oh, hey, what's that?
Oh, that's my leftovers. It's ribs. Or soup? I don't know. It's been so long I don't remember. Only one way to find out.
Oh! No! Oh, shit! What is that?
Oh, why? Dude, put that down. Burn it. That is literally the worst thing I've ever smelled.
Quit being such drama queens. This is what you guys wanted.
No, dude, you gotta get rid of that before it turns this place into The Last of Us 3.
All right, then can I eat my Vita bread now, or...?
Dude, you can eat whatever you want as long as it isn't whatever that is.
Fine. There. Are you guys happy now?
Well, actually, lately I've been thinking... What did you do?
Nothing. I just tossed it in the trash. But then I think something sort of jumped into the vents.
Something jumped into the vents?
Oh, hey, look at that. Lunch is over. Let's fucking cheese it, boys.
Welcome to the 17th episode of Head2Head, a video game podcast brought to you by Game Corp, the totally not evil video game media conglomerate. Upper management, in their infinite wisdom, has hand-chosen us, a couple of low-level employees with zero experience, to serve as your hosts for this head-to-head, no-holds-barred matchup between two games to see which will stand triumphant. I'm your host, Cowboy.
Hey, it's me. I'm Jake. I'm the Jake. Here I am.
And I'm JB, a.k.a. Jefferson Bearship.
What is that? I want a bear ship. All right. In today's battle, we'll be facing off two contenders for the title of Best Pixelated Reverse Horror Game with Carrion and Sea Salt. I'm actually really excited for today's episode. I love this pairing. To set the mood, Carrion and Sea Salt are both what you could call reverse horror games where you get to be the bad guy and you get to do the ookie dookie spooky killing.
Just like my real life.
Let's talk about that then.
Yes, and...
No, let's talk about that. Just like your real life. So you relate to these games in like a personal way?
Yeah. I mean, there's tons of people that were like hyped for this, and it's the kind of people that just always want to do bad things deep down. That's
Is
me.
it though? Is it?
Isn't,
I don't know, man.
Isn't reverse horror an escape? Like, it's gotta be.
It's
Who
like
else
the
would
purest
enjoy
form.
this?
It's like the purest form of escapism for people who really want to do bad things, but they can't because they got bills and they got stuff to take care of. So they play video games to hurt people. I get it. Get it. I mean, it really does. It really does push the narrative that video games cause violent behavior, which I'm a huge proponent of. I think video games cause the worst things in society, like friendship, cooperation, small motor development.
I think they're a great outlet for that stuff. Because here's the thing. If you say, like, I enjoy this game that involves, like, massacre and blood and guts, there's no place that joy can come from except deep within inside you. Or else you would loathe it. If you were a good person to your core, you would loathe these games with every fiber of your being.
I don't think so, man. What about like every fighting game ever, or like Mortal Kombat?
Right, like even there's been like religious, crusades and stuff.
Hell yeah.
And they, you know what I mean? Like,
well, that was not a good example. Let me tell you, that didn't convince me at all.
Fucking love a good crusade, yo.
Because they think they're good people down to their core, but they're still willing to, murder, pillage.
Just do the worst things.
Yeah. Just do all the worst things.
Because
they're doing it for a good reason.
Yeah, it's almost like they're finding an outlet, a acceptable outlet. I don't know, vis-a-vis video games or, hey, my church says I can crusade you. They're just outlets. Neither is better than the other.
Yeah, but what's the inlet? That's what I want to know.
Where does the rage come from?
Yeah.
Society. I don't
Society,
fucking know.
man. Let me spark up a cigarette and tell you about society. Wait. The line.
We live in...
Paint. Yes, do it. No, do it as a Joker, though. Do it.
I can't do his voice. Can you do it? Lip smacks.
That's all
We live in a society.
We live in a society.
That was good.
That's pretty good. That's good. Like your lips. So is it like his lips are always chapped? Like
he's just finishing a sandwich. That's all I hear. I can hear him
leftover barbecue sauce.
I can hear him setting down like a real crisp, plenty of mayonnaise sandwich, just like Wonder Bread sandwich with just good lettuce, and as he sets it down.
You want some Batman? I'm on a diet. I can't. I'm a figure.
I can't afford another bat suit. I can't afford to go up one size.
Where is she?
Where's what, Batman?
Why'd you say that name?
All right.
Dude,
it's
okay.
devolved, but let's talk about this.
Would it be the funniest thing if Spider-Man just got drunk a lot, if Spider-Man was an alcoholic? I want you to picture that for just a little bit. Picture if Spider-Man was an alcoholic. Like
it's just the guy from Enter the Spider-Verse.
No.
Like the mentor Spider-Man.
That's a guy down on his luck and like depressed. That's depressed Spider-Man. That's not alcoholic Spider-Man. I want you to picture
depression
Spider-Man
leads to alcoholism.
Picture Spider-Man web slinging through New York, but he's drunk and he has a full bottle of wine in one hand. He's just swinging with one other hand, and he's real lazy about it. Like he's got one hand up and his body's just kind of flailing as he's trying to drink his wine. And maybe he just like
just
drunk dialing MJ.
Yeah. Just slamming into the sides of buildings and spinning because he can survive anything with his arachnid body. His
spider sense is just like half a second too late each time.
Yes, as he just like careens into a dumpster as he's like, I think we can make it work. I really think we can make it work. And then the Vulture comes in, and he just throws the wine bottle at Vulture. And Vulture's like, you really got to get it together, Spider-Man. We're all worried about you. Spider-Man's like, you know what your problem is? As he just kind of climbs, like, ass first up a building. You know what your problem is, Vulture? I want a drunk Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse. That's what I asked for Christmas.
What would be amazing is the puke that would hit some poor bystander from at least like 200 feet up, and that thing would just be like whap onto the ground. It would knock people over.
Oh, as he just sprays a New York City street. It's just like rain.
Pulling up the mask like the MJ kiss, just to like...
Because I was picturing him just puking into the mask and it dribbling down the front.
Oh, God, you just see his eyes get wet. Just like...
The mask swells.
And it's got that hanging diaper sag. You know, that saggy diaper.
Like, it's like a Jay Leno chin.
It's
Lumpy face Spider-Man.
What have you done to this? He's a college student. He goes to like grad school. He's
yeah,
in MIT.
He's partying. The reg.
If he's in college, he's partying. As he stumbles down city streets, he's just like, you know who I am? You know who I am? You know what I've done for you?
He like goes up to some house party and they're like, "Oh, you're not on the list." And he's like, "Oh yeah, Spider-Man's not on the list, man. I'm Spider-Man. Look at this web." And he's like, "Oh, it's not working."
And
Hold
then
on. I got whiskey web. Hold on. I got whiskey web.
No.
Just give me a minute. I got whiskey.
For some reason, I imagine that he would like web sling their face down into their crotch, so it's stuck there, and just makes them like into some kind of ball.
The sex stuff Spider-Man can do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Take it, JB.
Oh, like who needs to buy sex swings? He can just shoot some web.
I guess it would be really thrifty.
That's an okay approach.
He'd be really thrifty about a lot of things, I guess, yeah. He's really doing it himself. He's a DIYer.
Yeah, if he dated somebody who was into BDSM, he could tie him up, restrain him. I mean, he's a spider, so he could bite him.
I can't help but feel like he would lay eggs, though.
When he's done, don't look at me. Okay, you guys want listener questions?
Sure. Yeah,
Let's
bail. Let's bail out of that conversation.
Okay, let me just pull this lever here and go!
Incoming pod drop from floor 22.
Okay, hand that to me. Thank you very much. And all right, let's check it out. So, this round of listener questions was brought to you by the Tapeworm Diet Pill. Lose weight the same way Victorian-era women lost their lives, by infecting the body with real tapeworms. Wow. You could literally buy them on the internet today.
Literally.
Wait.
That's not even
literally?
a joke. Yes. Okay. So, this first question comes in from Inky Danny. So,
hey.
Yeah, Inky Danny. So Danny's actually a big fan of the show. She listens, she loves it. We get messages in from her and stuff. You guys, check her out. Check out her Instagram. She's an artist. INKYDANI on Instagram. So she asks us, what are your favorite game platforms, past and present? And I'll shoot it off to you, Cowboy, to start.
Oh, me. Okay. Well, I mean, I didn't want to start off with, claiming the PC master race gods of the universe.
Oh, good golly.
Because, I mean, I know you guys wanted a fun answer, and not like the 1%er answer, but high-powered PC gaming rig is the best platform. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, sure, man. Like, okay, so that's your answer for the present. We all know. So nobody can deny that if you have the money, PC gaming is the highest experience, like the highest and the most current experience that you can have. Nobody denies that. But you didn't have a gaming rig when you were a little kid, right?
Well, okay, tell you what, I'll launch into that, but I do want to say one thing. I do have a huge thing against exclusivity. I hate the idea. I'm like an open source guy. I don't like that games are limited to consoles. Like when The Last of Us came out and some of the Spiderman games and just tons of games that I couldn't play because I wouldn't buy that console. I hate that. I want everything on everything. I want an open market. And I think that's why I always love PC. So that's why I can't choose. That's why I'll always be a PC fanboy. But as far as like back in the day when I didn't have a choice, I mean, I did. I had a choice of my favorite. My favorite was probably the Sega Genesis because the games on there were so like fun and wacky and tried crazy stuff. I just feel like people made weird games back then. They weren't afraid to be creative.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. I get it, dude. Like, I get it. That's not surprising because I know your love for the Holy Father Sonic, the Blue Speedster. I don't know where I was going with that. I didn't have a joke. I'm sorry. All right. JP, how about you, man?
Ooh, this is, I mean, so for the easy answer, PC has been, the one who stuck with me through the thick and thin, all the way back from Diablo 2, having like 3 discs for installation and whatnot, to modern day. I mean, I've been playing PC games my whole life, but there's a couple that kind of have important footnotes in the anthology that is JB's gaming history. It all started out on the NES and Super Nintendo, right? Of course. PlayStation 1 was the first console that I owned myself. But I think if I'm looking back, my heyday of gaming was the Game Boy Color.
Yeah, all right.
Interesting.
I think that is, Pokemon, Kirby. There were so many different. There was like some. Was Fire Emblem? That might have been SP. But the Game Boy era to me was just. It was so good. I mean, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, all of those sort of pop culture. Nostalgia overload that I feel today was in that time frame. So I think I got to give it to Game Boy.
See, that sentiment has never resonated with me. Not because I think it's wrong. I just don't understand it. Is it because it's mobile? Is that like the huge draw of the Game Boy was because you guys could play it anywhere? Or did it really just have like good games? Because you're not the only one to say that it was like a solid console to go against like flat ones.
I mean,
home ones.
Because it was like one of the first portables. I mean, you had like the Neo Geo Pocket Color. You had the Game Boy. You had, I think Atari made a handheld, Game Gear. So you had like a few different ones, but it was the first like mass, like really successful mobile gaming console, and it was cheaper than a regular gaming console.
Yeah.
So it was both affordable and you could take it with you in the car. So like long car rides, you could take it with you to your room. So when your mom is like, hey, you need to get off the TV, you can just go in your room and lay in your bed and play games. And you could take it to school and it would sit in your pocket. So between classes or whatever, you just play games. Like it was... I think the Switch tried to take on some of that portability, and it does to an extent, but it's not the same... sort of put in your pocket experience.
And see, it's weird for me because I don't even play like mobile phone games. Like I just have never been able to do mobile games. And even with the Switch, I only play the Switch on the couch. I don't ever really take it anywhere with me. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else is like me. If you guys are like me and just don't do it as well, like let me know so I don't feel alone in this.
Dude, I'm sure that there's plenty of people who feel the same way. Like, I mean, nobody plays games the same way. Like, our show is proof enough that the three of us play games for different reasons in different ways. I am going to second on the Game Boy for sure.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this is coming from somebody who has Pokemon tattoos. Like, I have Pokemon tattoos. I played so much Pokemon Gen 1 and Gen 2 that it was crazy. Like, when I was in school, it was on all my lunch breaks. I would trade Pokemon with people in, like, middle school, stuff like that. I played every generation. Like, handheld gaming actually is... Now that I think about it, I guess I've never really thought about it, that handheld gaming is actually a big part of my gaming history. So... I remember the Game Boy Color, man. Like the first time when you turned on a Game Boy Color. I had the turquoise one. And the first time you popped it on and you saw colors, it wasn't just black and white or green and black on the original Game Boy. Mm-hmm. You saw a real color. And then there were actual games who took advantage of the Game Boy Color scheme because Pokemon didn't. So Pokemon just got like overlays, like red. A lot of the overland stuff, like the map stuff was red, things like that. Like you had a couple colors, things like that. But there were games that actually took advantage of it and you got to see color. And we're talking, this is back in the 90s. This is back in the 90s. Portable gaming, unheard of. How the shit do you lug around your Super Nintendo, right? It was amazing. Yeah. Definitely.
You know what's weird? And the PSP should have been like massive for that because I knew somebody who had one and there were so many features that he like showed to me.
Yeah.
And I never heard anybody talk about a PSP, even though it did like HD movies back then and you could download to it and tons of crazy stuff. Like, why didn't that catch on?
It's weird. When I was in high school, there was this guy who had no idea how to use computers, and he would pay me $20 to install music on his PSP.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, so I would go on BearShare. remember BearShare?
I remember.
And I would download all this
BearShare.
Music. And he would give me $20, and I'd get to borrow his PSP for like 4 days and play video games. And make $20 off of it. It was a great business venture that I went into.
That's evil.
That kicks ass, dude. No,
I told him I would do it for free, and he's like, no, let me pay you. I was like, all right.
Nice. Capitalism at work, baby.
I used to offer to fix computers and keep them for months because I didn't have my own, just from friends I didn't know.
Damn.
Yeah, you guys know who I'm talking about, too. He always used to give me his computer, and I would keep it for like months at a time, being like, still working on it.
Holy shit. No, I had no idea that you did that.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up, man.
Sorry.
You bring up a good point about the PSP. And so there was even a follow-up, the Vita. So PlayStation's portable consoles, I don't understand why they weren't a commercial success. They were going up against the DS, which is, I believe, the highest selling portable console still, I think. I don't know if the Switch has beat it yet, but I think the DS is like the highest selling portable console. So they kind of had a very, very tall mountain to climb. And I do also think they had to use proprietary SD cards, which were super expensive. So I think they maybe made some, I don't know, commercial choices that weren't great. And I wonder if that led to
they use like some weird like mini disc cartridge combo?
Yeah.
That was so weird.
Yeah, but I mean, shit, in theory, like the GameCube had mini discs. It was that time when mini discs were a thing and they were cool. Like mini discs were cool. And I mean, they went for it. And again, I think the only reason they didn't succeed in the handheld market because it technically was, from a hardware standpoint, a superior console. I think it's just because everybody already had a Game Boy, a DS. I think that's the only reason.
And especially when the DS came out, like it had new stuff. So the PSP was kind of a downgrade almost because you didn't have the touchscreen sort of capabilities where, you know, two screens and being able... I mean, there was this Kirby game on the DS that was my jam where you would draw lines and Kirby would like... almost like a Trackmania, not Trackmania, but there was this old Flash game where you would draw like a track and then your guy on a snowboard would fly through it. I wish I remembered what that was. Neat. Frank out there, tell me what that is.
Yeah, hit us up on Twitter or whatever.
Yeah, what is that game? Anyway, so that Kirby game, oh my god, it was so good. You would like have a gap and you'd draw a little rainbow bridge. It might have been called Kirby Rainbow Bridge or something. That was a good game too. But you go to the PSP and it's like, I got my, you know, X, circle, square, triangle.
It was just downgraded versions of like PS2 games. Like, maybe that's it too. Maybe the games were just more fun. Because you're right, with the DS, man, with the touchpad of the two screens, Elite Beat Agents, like, took full advantage of everything the DS could do, and that game kicked ass. So maybe it was just a fun factor, too.
People are just weird about new stuff coming out. Like, there's no good reason, I feel like, that the Sega CD should have failed. But it did. Like, tons of things that come out. Even the Dreamcast, I guess, kind of failed. And it's just certain technologies just don't work out. And it's never really that they have bad games or anything. I don't understand
the very best game on Sega CD or Sega Saturn or whatever it was, the Sonic Pinball.
Oh, really?
So, I mean, I think this might be the reason why exclusives exist, is because they need to ensure that they have enough good games at launch that people buy it and doesn't fall under the radar. Because I can't name one PSP game that was like, this is the game you have to play on PSP.
Yeah, I can't either.
But I can name a few DS games where it's like the DS features were it like quintessential in the success of the game itself.
That's true. I feel like it's branding. It's literally how well you can sell the console to match the game and the popularity combined. That's all it was. It's a popularity contest.
Oh, 100%. 100%. All right, Inky Danny.
I'm going to throw out real quick. The PlayStation, the original, was goddamn phenomenal.
Oh,
with the amount of games that came out.
PS1?
With the PS1, if I really think about it, had a lot of crazy good games. It did really well across the board. Like, it was legendary. So I think I almost want to amend my answer to kill nostalgia from it. Objectively, I think the PlayStation, as far as consoles go, was like the best.
For sure. Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII.
That's the only reason, isn't it?
No, it's not. No, I truly believe what I said, but like that doesn't hurt it at all to have the best game ever made.
Yeah.
To date.
Yeah. So, okay, I would
Tony
say
Hawk.
I don't know, man. I was never in love with PS1, but the PS2 I thought kicked ass. And that's also one of the most highest selling consoles ever. The PS2 had, it had a mountain of beautiful games that you could play. Snake Eater, get out of here. I still play Snake Eater.
The PS2 Xbox 360 era was just
amazing. Yeah,
it was just like, it was like good music from the 2000s or something. It was just nailing it for long stretches of time. Like, there was no off seasons. There was no like great depressions of gaming. It was killing it the whole time.
Yeah, Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk series is great.
I mean, you had Tony. So, I mean, on the PlayStation 2, you had Tony. Yeah, I mean, Tony Hawk. You had Shadows of the Colossus. You had
Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes.
Oh my God,
yes.
That's a game.
That's an amazing.
That
game.
is a game.
You had several God of Wars. You had
Grand Theft Autos.
Yeah, you had GTA's. Metal Gear 2 and 3,
Halo, Call of Duty, Battlefield.
Yeah, on the Xbox end. I mean, if we're talking
Medal of
360,
Honor.
if we're talking 360, holy moly, there are so many. Look at me. How old do I sound? Holy moly, there are so many games for the 360. Yeah,
and demo discs.
I missed that, dude. I missed demos.
The Pizza Hut Tony Hawk demo disc.
We played that more than any other game.
I played that more than the real Tony Hawk. Like, I played that fucking level over and over until my fingers bleed.
Yeah, we knew every secret. I mean, we would go, because you only had, 2 minutes or something in the demo?
Oh, yeah.
But if you kept grinding and kept your combo up, you could go indefinitely. So we would have combo battles where it would be, 1v1, and we would just sit there and see who could get the best combo. And then whoever fell first, they had to hand off the controller. And we got really good at that very first level.
That's awesome.
And honestly, that was the best way to like get people excited about games, because nowadays it's trailers, it's reveals and stuff. Demos aren't really a thing. Certain things like cheats and demos have died off. But like nothing got you more excited than like playing those demos. So I miss that era. I kind of do. I know that Steam recently did like a big demo expo, and I even like attended it a little bit, but I did like 1 or 2 demos. Like, it's not the same feel.
No, it's really not the same feel. Now, all right, listeners, I don't know how old everybody is who listens to the show, and I know there's a range, but for the younger listeners, if you don't remember, I don't know how young you should be listening to our show, but if you don't remember, there was a period of time in like the PS1 days, and I know into the PS2 also, but it was big in the PlayStation 1 days, was demo discs. And oftentimes the only way you could get demo discs would be like in gaming magazines and shit like that. Like it would just be in an attached sleeve inside a gaming magazine that you subscribe to, or if you're lucky, it was at a grocery store and it wasn't fucked up.
Yeah.
And
cereal boxes sometimes.
Yes.
It was wild.
It was wild.
The Wild West.
And I mean, this is well, I would say it, man. I never downloaded a game on the PS2, so it was pre-internet. It was download your game. This was really like the only way to get these cool demos. And you would create this collection. You had your discs, you had your cool demos. And especially growing up kind of poor, I would say.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of money growing up. And buying games growing up was a very special occasion. And I didn't have a bunch of games to play growing up. These demos, you would get your sleeves or like your booklets and stuff like you would your CDs, and you would fill them up with demo discs, and you would play those as much as you would real games because it's what you had and it's all you had. They were fond memories,
gifts
man.
from gods.
Yes, they were. Yeah. Yes, they were. And for PlayStation 1, my cousin had a PlayStation, but we lived 2 houses down, so I was over all the time when we would play. I remember a demo disc for Legend of, I think you pronounce it Lugia, something like that.
No idea.
I don't know. It's spelled like the Pokemon, but you got to play just the intro, going off into the world you never got to do. I would play that over and over and over and over. More importantly, though, the Metal Gear Solid 1 demo that was still in Japanese. It was still in Japanese. Wasn't that the coolest shit? So many times, just the opening area when you come out of the water.
That opening area is packed with so much stuff. The demo just had like what you could normally do in there, but you could do tons. I hundreds of playthroughs of just that section. Yeah, doing it every way possible.
Yeah, the my demo was Brave Fencer Musashi.
That's a good one.
That's the one that I played over and over. And the funny thing was, I eventually rented the game. Remember when you could do that? I rented the game and I played it and I liked the demo better.
Oh no!
Well, it's like the trailer to a movie. It's like I love trailers. Honestly, I love almost all trailers I see. I don't love all the movies I see.
That's very true.
Demos are highlight reels.
That's super fair.
Oh, but there was these. This reminds me of like a terrible. Like it was great at the time because we were broke, but they had these like freeware, shareware discs that you could buy for like $5. That had like, it was like 1,000+ games for the PC or whatever. Do you remember those discs, Cowboy? You had a couple. One of them had Dogs of War.
Oh, is that where we got all that? Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was also Spitball Boy or something.
Man, you were dragging memories from the lagoon right now.
Yeah, I am. Do you remember that?
No, I do. That's what I'm saying. Like you just like dragged out an old buried memory. I do remember that.
Oh my God. It was just, you were this little guy and you would run left and right and these balls would bounce on the screen over your head and they would be different colors and they'd do different things. Spitwad Willie was his name. Spitwad Willie. And you would shoot these spitwads out of a straw up in the air, kind of like asteroids. Or not asteroids, but Missile Command. And he would blow up these balls. It was great.
As kids, we were so hungry back then. We were so starved for games. These demo discs came in like welfare checks, dude. Like, it got us through the month.
That's a good way to put it, dude.
Like, nowadays, I'm sure kids play games and they have their favorite game, but that stuff is not burned into their memory as like a savior from God. It is just like a game they really liked. But for us, these were like treasures. Our demo discs were our treasures.
Absolutely.
It's nuts.
Well, there you have it, Inky Danny. It's demo discs. It's demo discs through and through. And that's actually it for listener questions this week.
Yay.
Now, before we move on, we here at Head to Head, a video game podcast, don't believe ourselves to be the end-all be-all when it comes to passing judgment on video game battles. We are just 3 guys with a passion for video games and implied violence. So, we'd like to extend the gavel to you, trusty listeners, to help weigh in on what we call the Audience Head-to-Head. The Audience Head-to-Head is brought to you by Get Into Heaven free cards. These cards will get you right into heaven. Deities hate them, but can't do anything about it. You a dirty sinner that does murders and drugs? Buy this shit. Only 3 easy payments of $666 and 1 hard payment of your firstborn child's soul. Get one today.
That's a bargain.
Are we sponsored by the devil?
I think a devil adjacent. All right, head-to-head, a devil
adjacent
devil adjacent podcast.
Last episode, Luke asked you which AI character that probably wouldn't turn all Skynet on your ass would make the best android companion, GLaDOS or Cortana. You voted, and the winner is GLaDOS.
Really?
Uh-oh.
I mean, did you guys not see it coming? I mean,
just malicious.
Yeah, but like one is a super cool tied-up robot who has really witty comebacks and things like that and makes 2 games amazing. And the other is an intrusive assistant in Microsoft Windows 10 that you can't really get rid of.
Yeah. The female version of Clippy.
She's the female Clippy.
Clippy with titty. No,
sorry.
No, I had that. That was a modded Clippy.
Hot date mod. Clippy hot date.
The hot Clippy mod for Microsoft Word 98.
Do you remember those ads for like strippers that would dance on your wallpaper?
No.
Or like they would like dance on your
What
desktop?
websites did you see those on, JB?
No, that was a huge thing. You would even get them just from visiting like scummy websites, but not like particularly in that. And you would just have these women parading around your desktop, and you'd be like, "Get out of here! What do you?"
Yeah, it would be like, install a stripper pole on your toolbar.
Yeah, virtual strippers would be down by like your clock, and it was half virus, half like I'm okay with this.
Yeah. It's intrusive, but you know.
Yeah, it's better than malware.
Dude, it was the Wild West, man.
I remember that.
Like in the 90s, the internet was the Wild West, and I miss it.
For sure. This episode... I love it. That is so weird. This week's question asks you to decide between 2 iconic rideable species. The geisha green-eating chocobo or the Yoshis.
Oh, good question.
You can find our poll on social media or reach out directly and help us answer this burning question.
You can also find this poll on JB's desktop.
I want to answer this question. I hate that we're not allowed to. Like, my gut said to weigh in.
Nah, we already know what your answer is. But wait until next episode, baby.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, we can't weigh in until Frank does.
Nah, find out next time on Head to Head, a Chocobo podcast
or a Yoshi podcast.
You know, I thought it was pretty decent because both species, like different colors, represent different skills and whatever. Yeah. I mean, they are basically the antithesis of each other.
And they are just horses.
Well, one's a dinosaur, one's a ostrich.
One's a horse and one's a friend.
They're just horses. Yoshi is a horse.
Yoshi is a friend.
Alternate universe horse. Horses can be friends. You ever hear of Mr. Ed? Was that the horse's name?
Yeah.
Or was it Wilbur?
Hello, Wilbur.
There you go.
You know, they made him talk with peanut butter. They just shoved peanut butter all up in his mouth.
Oh, and he's just like...
Yes, him talking was always him licking peanut butter off his gums.
Then why could we understand him so clearly?
Well, peanut butter is the key to understanding horse talk.
It's a catalyst for translation.
Yeah.
I'm picturing Heath Ledger, rippin pepperonis, sitting there watching...
What?
What?
You can't just walk past that line, excuse me?
What does ripping pepperonis mean?
Ripping fat peps, bro.
Rip, R.I.P. in pepperoni... but I'm picturing him. You're focusing on the wrong part of this message.
I picture Heath Ledger's Joker ripping fat pepperonis.
He's sitting there watching Ed, and he's getting the lip smacking. You know, that's his muse.
Now
I'm just picturing Mr. Ed and the Joker smacking at each other.
You want to know how I got these oats?
You're a real piece of work, Joker.
Peam up, bubber.
What is this show? Oh my god.
I don't know anymore.
Whoa.
Did you? So you heard that too?
Was that your stomach, JB?
Not this time.
No, dude, it's coming from the vents. Watch, listen.
I don't want to listen.
Is it getting closer?
Is it getting louder?
Oh my god, dude, what the fuck?
Oh.
It's real close.
Guys, I think it's right above us.
Yo, should we go?
Wait.
Whoa!
Ooh. Ooh.
Hello?
Someone to see the podcasters.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Yeah. Cool. Send him up.
Oh, I already did a while ago.
What did you call?
Shut up, you're not my therapist.
What the fuck?
Ooh.
Wait, so who did you call then?
Okay, so I've been playing these games enough to know what's going on around here, guys. This disgusting blob in the fridge, the banging in the vents, the weird light flickering that hasn't stopped in a month, dude. There's something wrong with this building, so I called an expert.
You called an exorcist. Did you call an exorcist? Are we gonna fight ghosts? Oh, I'm so excited.
No, dude, even better. I called a mycologist.
Wait, but I already had my monthly pap.
I've been telling you, those aren't paps, and that guy is not a doctor.
What the fuck was that?
I don't... No, he's not a gynecologist. He's a mycologist. They study fungus and mold maybe or something. Anyway, I think Game Corp is infected with something, dude, like in the walls or whatever. He's going to help us find out.
Oh, okay. Who's there?
Professor Herbert von Bonbon?
Professor Herbert von Bonbon who?
The guy you paid to come and look at your mushrooms?
Wait, I don't get it.
Can I come in? Can I come in?
Yeah, I mean, people usually just come in. We're not used to somebody, like, actually being polite. Yeah, come on in.
Okay, hey, hello everybody. Ooh, all right. I'm just gonna go ahead and sit down, right here. You go ahead and skedaddle, buddy.
Who? What? Me?
Yeah, just go ahead and, slide on down that table there. Thank you. I just wanna... Here we go. No complaints about sitting between two redheads, am I right? Oh. Hey, so... What's the deal?
Are you the gynecologist, the mushroom gynecologist that Jake told us about?
Oh, yeah, right.
Right. He's going to check our mushrooms.
Yes, in some circles, maybe. But yes, the one over there in the glasses on the end.
Me?
Yeah. So, what do you guys call me to take a look at your mushroom situation? Do you have a sample, something I could study, look at, maybe, to get an idea what's going on?
Yeah,
No,
yeah. I have this lid in my pocket. It was from my Tupperware.
Yes, please, go ahead and let's just pass that over.
Why the fuck would you hold on to that?
Your hands are so smooth. Anyway, let me just take a
I've
look
been
at this.
moisturizing.
Yeah, I can tell. So let's take a look here. Let's give it a good
No.
All right,
Good, right?
No, it doesn't.
and let me give it a little
Don't lick it. Oh,
Hey,
Jesus.
I didn't get a chance to find out. Is that ribs or soup?
tastes like an omelet, really. So,
Duh, yeah, that's right.
yeah, so this is a very interesting sample. Where did you say this came from?
Breakroom fridge?
Fascinating.
He'd been keeping food in a Tupperware, and it's a broken fridge, and it's been there for like months. I can't remember the last time you had an omelet.
Yeah, but it's vacuum sealed. It lasts forever. Haven't you seen the infomercials?
That's not how Tupperware works, dude.
It's not cryogenics.
So, you check it. Yes, get closer, please, both of you.
I don't want to.
No, please, just come close. I have something to show you.
Okay. Is this close enough?
No.
It's pretty...
Do you see this right here? So, this little spore colony right here is very interesting. This isn't a fungus per se. It is a very interesting slime mold. So, this cutie right here is called Frysarum Necrophagium. So, it's really interesting. It's a flesh-eating slime mold that only comes from, deep, dark places, the Amazon rainforest, maybe. Places like that. Deep, dark, wet, intimate, So, the fact that it's in your breakroom fridge is very fascinating. How did you come across something so interesting?
Yes, JB. How did you come across that?
Oh, I mean, it's a great story. So, like, I made now I know it's an omelet some time ago, and I put it in a Tupperware with this, fancy red lid, because red means it kills the germs. And I put it in the breakroom fridge because, sometimes I'm hungry later. So I went in and I just wanted to eat my loaf of Iron Kids breads, but these two guys are like, hey, that's bad for you, you're gonna die.
That's so much gluten.
Yep.
It's a lot of gluten. So I decided, okay, I'll go get my omelet. I thought it was ribs. And there it was. Just looking me in the face. I mean, the discovery of a century. I could win the Pulitzer Amoeba Prize.
He said the word necromancy or something. This thing is going to create zombies. You get that that's what he said, right?
Yes, but I created it. I created Frysarum Necrophagia.
I don't think that's what he's saying.
Are we going to like being zombies, or is it going to be we won't even know the difference?
No, so that's a good joke. I gotta share that in my circle. So, all right. So, Physarum Necrophagium. It's a very interesting slime mold. You see, it does grow to the size of a nice jiggly basketball, nice and wiggly jiggly, like a nice Jello mold, right? Or maybe a firm booty. You give it a little smack, give it a little
yeah.
So anyway,
it's very jiggly.
It's getting hot in here. Let me hold on. I want to take off my. Excuse me. I'm gonna take off my vest. Just
Yeah, you are sweating.
There we go. Okay.
It's not that the AC's on.
Let me just over there. There we go. So, Physarum Necrophagia. It's a very interesting. Its life cycle does include dissolving biomatter, but I'm saying things like bugs or reptiles, small birds, things that get trapped in its fleshy, round, beautiful little rump. So it's not like it's gonna turn you into a zombie. It's just gonna, eat your hamster. It's completely harmless as long as you don't put your hand in it.
And at what point in the life cycle does it jump out of the Tupperware and enter the vents?
Excuse me?
Yeah, is that like when it's a teen, or does it wait till it's like maybe middle age, and has like some responsibilities?
Oh, yeah, it's like a midlife crisis thing for Frysarum Necrophagia?
No, it's so it's nothing. In the vents, you say. Could you please elaborate? You have my attention.
Yeah, so there I was. I had my omelet, and I'm like, I'm about to chow down on this. This smells so good. And these guys are over here like...
It was going to chow down on you.
It was fine. It was well-seasoned. Gordon Ramsay would like this. You just don't like cuisine. So I open it up. I'm ready to go. But then these guys make me throw it in the trash, and I'm like, whatever. At least I get to eat my loaf of bread.
For your safety.
And then...
We saved you.
Whatever. And then it jumps out of the trash can, opens the vent, goes up in there, and now it's been, stalking us all day. That's normal.
That is truly fascinating. So, that's not a slime mold, baby. I think you got something else going on here. Do you say you hear it now? Do you hear it right now? Like as we're talking, do you hear it?
I don't.
No, but right before you came.
Interesting. So we're not talking about a Class 5 poltergeist or specter.
You're into ghosts too?
So I might moonlight as a In some circles, I am a rather well-respected cryptozoologist, and
when you're a creepy old man, you might as well.
I do my ghost hunts,
So
well
anyway,
what
Wait
I
a
think
minute.
you have, yes.
How do I know you're not the slime mold?
I mean, that's silly. The slime mold is right here.
He's not the size of a basketball.
I mean, I've heard it. It was banging, but I've never seen you and the slime mold in the same room.
I mean, it's right there on the lid, dude.
Oh, technically, yeah.
Yes, well,
They look different.
so anyway, what I think you have here is some, I don't know, maybe a gnome or a goblin, gremlin, maybe, possibly a small chupacabra. In my professional opinion, I think you have yourself something that will probably kill you in your sleep.
Oh. Whew. I was getting worried there for a second.
Where are you? I still am. I'm still getting worried for a few seconds. What do you mean a gnome?
Yes.
I mean, Gnome Chomsky?
A gnome, a small creature, likes to crawl around in the vents, steal your breath while you sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a cat.
Stab you in your heart while you slumber, suck your blood, that kind of thing. That's what gnomes do, right?
Jake, how did you find this guy?
Craigslist. I mean, how do you find anybody?
True.
Not Craigslist.
It's just getting hot in here. I think I'm just going to go ahead and take my shirt off, if you excuse me. I'm just going to... There we go.
No.
Ooh, that's better. Oh, that's better.
No, or not excused? No, I unexcuse you.
You guys have a fan or something? I am feeling... I am bothered. I am hot and bothered. I gotta tell, I have not been in such beautiful company in so long. Anyway, I think...
That's very strange. It's a very good temperature right now.
I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and pack it up. I'm allergic to chupacabras. I have to say, it's really embarrassing. It's embarrassing to admit, but I am allergic to southwestern and Mexican cryptids. It's very disagreeable. I'm gonna go ahead and pack my stuff up. You can Venmo me the. There you go. Yeah, you know what to do. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take this lid. I'm gonna take this lid as well, and thank you. Good day, gentlemen. Don't fall asleep at work.
Okay.
Dude, that guy took my lunch.
I don't think you're going to want that lid back once he's done with it.
Yeah, but now I'm going to have like an uneven number of Tupperware containers versus lids. I mean,
throw away one of the bases and you'll be... Do not go get that guy's whack-off.
No, he's gonna fuck that lid, right?
He's gonna, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna work on getting my money back.
No more Craigslist paranormal section. You have a problem, Jake.
It wasn't paranormal, it was like, so when you go on and you need to meet people, it's like I thought it was like a cool little casual gig, so I went on the casual one, and I was like, hey, here's a casual job. And
to encounter somebody.
Yeah.
To encounter somebody casually who could perform a service.
Right.
Yeah, because
he's going to identify the slime mold.
Mm-hmm. That makes... Okay. I feel much better about it, because this is definitely like a casual encounter of the second or maybe third kind.
Yeah, he got real comfortable in here. Very casual.
He liked you guys.
Well, while we have Luke block Craigslist for Jake's own safety, let's go ahead and take a word from our sponsor. But when we return, get ready for a showdown.
Head to Head, a video game podcast, is brought to you by the Hair Done Glow Wand by Sinclair Hairworks. Do you ever find yourself stroking your bare chest on chill fall evenings, longing for a beautiful forest of chest curlies to keep you warm at night? Or maybe a comforting tuft of armpit hair that invites a loved one in for a longer than needed hug? Sinclair Hairworks may just be the answer you're looking for. Their all-new, all-do Hair Done Glow Wand has been saved from over 40 years of R&D hell to bring you a one-stop shop hair growing system. Simply point the wand at the desired body part, pull the trigger, and watch in wonder as a patented hair growth formula coats the skin in a wonderfully greasy nutrient gel, accompanied by about 4,400 rads of gamma radiation. Allow the nutrient gel to absorb into the skin right before observing a wonderful, chitinous scab cover the affected area. After 24 hours, the scab should slough off and reveal an amazing, full patch of shiny, thick body hair. What's more exciting is it works everywhere, on and off the body. That's right. Basically anything you point the wand at can achieve a healthy, thick tuft of beautiful body hair. I use the Hair Done Glow wand at home, and my PS5 has never been softer or more radiant. Right now, H2H AVGP listeners can get 80% off their Hair Done Glow wand by using offer code CURLDADDY at checkout. Sinclair Hairworks. Let's grow it everywhere.
Today, we're doing the Monster Mash. That's right, we're talking games that put you in control of the baddies while you go around the levels killing all the good guys. Sea Salt and Carrion are both great representations of the reverse horror genre, but which game will take the title of Best Pixelated Reverse Horror Game? Find out now on this episode's Head-to-Head Showdown.
Our first contender in tonight's matchup is Carrion. It's an indie gem whose pre-alpha trailer caught early buzz on Twitter, mainly because Twitter itself is full of monsters. It's the second game by Phobia Game Studios, the studio with no phobia for a little bit of blood, guts, and gore. Or a lot of it, for that matter. This is a bent-bashing, monster-mashing, creepy-crawling, scientist-gnawing Metroidvania where you'll play as the ever-spreading amorphous meatball of teeth and tentacles that totally doesn't check every box on my fetish list. What? Right then, no more Japanese import films. In this game, it's your turn to be what that noise in the vents was as you slide and squeeze through the maze-like lab/army facility, chewing your way through a screen load of enemies with sentry drones, laser shields, pocket protectors, and as a good old-fashioned German Flammenwürfe. It woofs Flammen. Whenever you're not teaching man the folly of playing God, you'll be solving ability-centric puzzles and getting lost in environments that are more samey than a Cold War communist military complex. But nothing is more loathsome than when you are forced to play as the most disgusting, despicable, evil monster of them all. Nerd! God, I think I'm gonna be sick!
All right, my meat bags, let's talk about Carrion. So, let's jump right into what this game does good. Cowboy, start us off.
This game fulfills its promise as far as being this disgusting monstrosity that moves through. I think one of the best things about this game is the motion. Whoever programmed those spindly little tentacles that leap out and latch on and move you through did a perfect job. I never once questioned if it looked weird or made sense. It just, you move good, right? It's
so good.
And that's the thing. Those kind of things take a lot of work. Nobody ever thinks how much work it takes to make somebody move that smoothly and good and for your brain to say, yep, that's how that would move. It took a lot of work, so I applaud them on that. And that's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, I completely agree. The movement itself is so fluid and quick and I mean, it just feels good. And something else I really, really enjoyed was the simplicity of the controls. Any game that I can play while also eating chips is just a great game in my mind. I mean, I'm shoving chips in my mouth with my left hand while I'm playing this game with my right hand.
While you're shoving scientists in your mouth with your right hand.
Yes. Scientist goes in, Doritos come out. What?
That's right. That's right. And then every once in a while, I'd have to hit E or whatever, but it was... I mean, yeah, the controls, the game, it was very fast-paced, it was very focused, it was just, all around, it was a good game.
And I want to say the fact that they varied it up depending upon size, too, because being a big wet paper towel wad of a monster moved with a little bit of cumbersomeness, but when you got all your health knocked down and you became the small, speedy little... basically face hugger from Alien, you moved right. You were wily, you were all over the place. And they had to do that. They had to program that to kind of shift how your movement really like worked dynamically between the different states and stages. Because you shrink as you get hurt. You get even smaller and smaller. And it's perfect. It never came to mind because it was so perfect. It never called attention to itself. It was fluid. So, wholeheartedly agree.
I do too. I thought that was really smart how they did that. The different mechanics, because you get different abilities depending on the size you are, and there's 3 different size tiers of blobby monster thing that you can be in this game. And depending on what you need to do, you can actually go to specified like goo pools to even shed biomass and stuff whenever you have to be a different size to complete different objectives and things like that. Like every ability in this game was smartly done, and every size, the ability relative to your size was super smart and well done too. I really, really love the game mechanics in this. Now, I just realized I never set the stage for this. People who don't know this game, and if you can't guess based on like the art, like the cover art of the game, or like anything we post about it, you essentially play the Thing. And the
John
Thing.
Carpenter's
John Carpenter's The Thing. You play the Thing from The Thing. You are a pile of undulating meat and teeth and tentacles, and it is your sole purpose to bash, mash, destroy, and eat your way through this facility to ultimately escape. I want to touch on some of the things that it does really well in that regard too. So, I mean, I love all things story and lore and things like that. Now, this game doesn't feed it to you like up front. It doesn't use exposition. It doesn't do anything like that. It tells story through cutscenes, things like that. As you travel your way through this facility and jump into different machinery, it tells a really interesting story. Did you guys grasp like the story of this game, or was it more? Was all the blood, guts, and glory a little too like in your face to care? I want to get your feeling on that.
I feel like it, and I just want to put this out there before I get, contaminated with Cowboys ideas, but I feel like the idea of this game is you are a form of like a bowl of spaghetti that mutated and you are infecting the area around you, like the non-organic matter. So the steel, the dirt, the whatever.
Yeah.
And you're infecting this stuff to spread your kind of reaches over time. And as you mutate and evolve, you get the ability to take over a host. And then the entire point of this game is you are escaping this sort of military complex where you were being studied. I don't know if you were created there or what, or just found or stored there. But you're escaping out into the world, and you're going to infect the entire planet, is the idea. That's kind of where my mind went.
Do you literally mean bowl of spaghetti?
Kind of?
Well, I mean, okay. I think just watching the scenes and intrinsically, you kind of know with these games what you're in for, what the archetypes are, and like, I don't think they would deviate too much. I could tell that they had unearthed something, and that I remember they had unearthed something, and they even like had contained it for a moment. And so this is you like you got out, you got wiry, but then they got you back in, and then this is you breaking out again. And I could get some of the sense from this of like what they were doing. I didn't follow along. I didn't like dive into it, but the general idea of the story was transmitted decently well for people who were just like, get me through these freaking cutscenes of like playing as a scientist, the people I want to kill,
I love hearing that because of course I dived into the lore and stuff like that. Like, did you guys know that there's a companion comic book that goes with this game?
That is cool. I had no idea.
I also had no idea, but I don't know if I would go so far as to say it was cool.
It's cool.
I think it's really cool. Supplementary materials I always think are super cool. Dead Space comes to mind. So many supplementary materials and things like that.
My thought is that supplementary materials means that you cannot come up with a way creatively to weave the story into your game itself, and you have to create all this sort of backstory and extended universe and stuff. It's the lazy man's way out.
I full-heartedly disagree with all of that.
Skip.
I'm gonna sit right between.
No, thank
I'm right
you.
in the middle between you two.
I think supplementary materials for a game that you enjoy are super cool. I mean, like companion novels, things like that tell stories. That's fucking cool, in my opinion. So anyway, there's a companion comic book that goes with it, and it does establish one very interesting fact that happens in the game if you have a really close eye. So one of the things that this flesh biomass monster does, of course, it can take other samples of DNA and write it into itself to gain new abilities, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
One of its limiting factors is anything that it absorbs everything about their psyche. While you play this, you will notice that it does not eat and absorb any of the like soldiers that are geared up and trying to kill it.
I noticed that.
Because lore-wise, if this creature does, it would start wanting to kill itself. So from a survival standpoint, it only absorbed DNA from humans that were either afraid of it or didn't have an extreme desire to kill it. And it doesn't tell you that explicitly in the game, but yeah, it showcases it in the game itself. And if you catch it, it's so fucking interesting. So, what the cutscenes? Go ahead.
Well, I saw it, but my first reaction was like, okay, they're in armor. I mean, it's a pixel game, so I'm missing something. These guys are in like some sort of armor suit that I can't chew through.
Yes,
like
exactly. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's the lazy man's
when
way
you
out.
chomp on it.
They're
not lazy man's way out. Whenever you munch on those soldiers, you don't just spit it out, you throw up.
Oh, wait a minute.
So it expels it.
This soldier wants to kill me, so if I eat it, I'll kill myself. This scientist is afraid of me, so if I eat it, I'm fine.
I'm afraid of myself.
Wouldn't I be afraid of myself?
Yes. It does come with a certain fear to it. So you guys both put the story together in different pieces. This thing is found at a first facility or created or whatever. It lied dormant for a long time. The scientist that you play in the flashback cutscenes is the first thing that it absorbs into itself. So one of the first and most important psyches that it absorbs into itself is that scientist. For lack of better terms, this thing's most important I guess psyche is of the scientist.
It's imprinted on him. It's
imprinted on the scientist. Yeah, it's like his body. So it's imprinted on the scientist. So as you play this, you are a blob monster. You're not the scientist, but one of its core ways of thinking, this creature is of the scientist. That's why you turn. Okay, spoiler alert. I guess skip it if you don't want to ruin it. That's why in the end you turn back into the scientist.
Right.
So lore-wise, I thought this was fucking interesting. And not to mention the cool-ass music. The audioscape of this game and the lore of this game had me enthralled from start to finish. I will say this is one of my favorite games that we played since we started the show. Like, bar none. I fucking love this game. I fucking love this game.
And I want to jump in real quick for JB, just to settle you and help you understand. Yeah, secondary and like that kind of offshoot material is great because that's less cutscenes for you. They took it out of the game and put it somewhere else and is like, here, lore nerds, go chase this.
No. You're misunderstanding my reservations because I don't mind cutscenes and I don't mind lore. I'm somewhere between Jake and you on that. I don't always skip, but I don't never skip, you know? What I care about is well thought out, planned narrative. And if it's good, I'll pay attention to it. But the problem I have with this sort of supplementary material is it's always after the fact that they go, I can picture them sitting in a room and go, well, wait a minute. How do we explain that the bodies and the armor are not eaten? And somebody's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we say it's like memories? Because when they go into that weird machine, they see flashbacks. That could make sense. And they're like, yeah. So we just say, they can't eat the military because they'll kill themselves like the military does. And it's just like, like it's like after the fact going back and making connections rather than building something from the ground up. And that's what I have a problem with.
You think it's a disingenuous kind of assertion after the fact to
Correct.
Be like, we planned it the whole time.
Yes,
that wasn't a mistake.
It's like begging the question, that sort of thing.
I got to disagree, but I don't know how.
Yeah, this is such a weird argument. Like, I disagree so much, but I don't even know what to say to defend it because, in my opinion, that's just, it's buck wild. Your opinion is so buck wild, I don't even know what to say to it. Like, honestly, dude, honestly. So...
But it's true. I mean, it's just so, like... We gotta build a world. Everybody looked at Skyrim and went, Busty Argonian made. Let's add, like, extra stuff. Destiny did it. Halo did it. Like, all of
So
these
you don't
different...
like when a game adds stuff?
Not
you
when
don't
they...
You don't like when a game creates a lore and then says, we're fucking done. Don't add anything to this. Don't you dare touch a single fucking sentence.
No. I mean, that's a fair challenge. And what my thing is it's very subjective to the individual that's consuming the media, because when you look at it, I mean, if you think it's a genuine sort of passion project and you say they had this plan from the beginning and they could not fit enough into the game in order to make this work, but this game can be beat in an hour. Like they could have added that into the game, but no, they didn't. They added extra stuff outside of the game.
How livid were you when the Chamber of Secrets was revealed that J.K. Rowling wrote a second book? How fucked up were you the day that you found out there was a second Harry Potter book?
That was a great
that expanded on the lore. Like,
no. This is different. This is different. This is like...
Is it?
No, yes,
Is it?
yes. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. This is like when J.K. Rowling, after all the books were written, came out with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and all of those additional books that showed up once in the books themselves and were never talked about again. She wrote specific books in order to cash out on those ideas. So people would go, yeah, Harry Potter is done, the story is done, but hey, I can buy the supplementary book. I can buy these jelly beans. I can buy these other things. Like, it's such a cash grab and such a non-honest way to do business. And that's the way I feel about these supplementary materials.
You feel it was a not honest business practice to write a comic book to go along with the game Carrion?
Yes. Personally, from a subjective experience, I think they were doing it because other people do it.
It feels like
I don't think they were doing it because they didn't have enough space in the game to get their ideas out. Because they definitely had enough space in their game to get their ideas out.
Well, let's talk about that, because I know some of the bad is going to bleed into that, which is like not putting enough into the game. It sounds like you're saying that with the plot, like almost they created a comic book that you had to buy to patch up the plot because they just left a big hole in it. That's what I think you're saying. And I would say maybe some things got left out for my taste with gameplay and with some of the mechanics too. So let's talk about the bad. Jake.
Yeah, let's dive. Okay, no. The only thing I thought that this game did bad is that some of the environments are a little too samey. Like I thought they could break up some of Laboratory A and Laboratory B, because they have different biomes per se and different like areas to traverse through in the game. But since it all takes place in a laboratory, they didn't deviate very much. Yeah. So I will say that it does feel like one mega level that you travel through versus different levels or biomes or whatever. But that's the only thing I thought this game did bad. I was enamored by this game, dude.
And I was one of the many people who got lost in the environment and couldn't find the objectives, but I will say I did notice they didn't just do nothing about it. After the fact, I could see that they had put in little signs. They even had little exit signs.
Little exit signs that show you the way, yeah.
And things like that and little notes, but I don't think they realize how clueless a person who isn't plugged into the game can understand. Because when you're designing the game, you're like, oh, the exit's here. It's obvious. I put a sign. But you know everything. It's hard to gauge like how a player will just think of nothing and just be like, I am lost. Because that's what I did. It's the sign's got to be real fucking obvious. And I think they didn't know that, or they dropped the ball a bit on that. Because everybody has been saying this game needs a map. And it kind of does.
Oh, definitely a map. A map would have helped. Doesn't even Super Metroid have a map? Yeah, it does. A map would have been really awesome for this game.
Even as a little poster, like a little, those fire exit here maps. Like even just that in the background, and you might stop and be like, "Oh shit, cool! That's a map." I remember where I am. And then, especially if the levels had different layouts and colors, then that would really do it.
I agree with that too. I do.
I disagree wholeheartly, and I don't know why I'm taking the antagonistic
I love this
person on
this
this
is
side.
wild.
It was fine. I mean, I ran into an issue once where I was like, what direction do I go? But by the time I was like almost about to be annoyed, I figured out which direction I needed to go. So it was like, whatever. Like, it was fine. I liked this game for what it was. And I know I'm being like
You're
angry
still playing the baddie.
and I'm playing the baddie, but this game was fine on its own. This game was fine. It was a good game.
Dude, you gotta move on, man. Like, she wrote The Prisoner of Azkaban. You have to move on, JP.
That was actually my favorite book of the series.
Well, aren't we just Mr. What's the fucking word? I don't know.
Weasley?
Well, aren't we just a Ron Weasley? No, that doesn't make sense. I can't think of the word. Anyway, this is wild. What did you think that the game did bad, not including this really weird hill that you're standing on about a supplementary comic book?
Because that's bullshit. What it did wrong, other than the supplementary material, was the environments. Number one, and I think you're understating it, because it was the same. It was the same. The level design was good, okay? Mm-hmm. The levels themselves were different, and they were but I felt like the person who was in charge of designing the levels was given a set of 16 choices. And it's like, make 30 levels out of these 16 choices. And it's like, I got like a couple things I can choose from, but it's all going to be the same. So they had to like sparingly choose, okay, I'm going to add water in these sections, but everything else is door, open, close. Let's make, you can go right or you can go up. Hey, we got these tubes. You can go left or right, but you got to loop around if you want to do something else. Hey, here's these like sonic bricks that you can't go through. Like, it was all, there was no difference between the levels. It was all the same environment. And that's something that I feel like was a big detractor in how much I enjoyed the game, because it was like, it was just whatever. I mean, it would pop up this thing and it's like, oh, now you're in the sewers. And I'm like, then why is it a military base? Oh, now you're in the swamps of Dagobah. I'm like, then why am I on a military base? Now you're in line for an ice cream cone. Why am I in a military base then? Because everything was a military base. The entire game.
Yeah.
That is super fair. The only time you could tell you're in any different area at all is if you were in a random little room that had some sort of backdrop to it. Like that you could see outside or something like that.
Right.
But that's the only time it did deviate. They really did take you are stuck in a science facility to heart. Because you are stuck in a fucking science facility for this whole game.
Yeah.
Which would be fine, but if they didn't try to be something they're not, like I think that's where my anger is coming from, is they're trying to be something they're not. And what you are is good enough. Just stop pretending.
Well,
that's so sweet.
Well, no, here's how I think of it, and I don't even blame them for it, but there is kind of, they made a good game, but it made me want more because it is an indie studio, but it makes me want, like, I wish these guys were fucking huge and they could just make the shit out of this game, but they probably only had like 1 or 2 artists who could only do so many chipsets, and like that's why everything was the same. And some of the features, I was not crazy about all the abilities. I mean, some of the abilities, just like, there's one. There is the take over a human's body, and that was it. That was the Abe's Odyssey gimmick. That was like the greatest part. The other ones, I didn't care for them that much. I wanted real cool abilities. I wanted tons of them. I wanted more features. I wanted to be able to control my movement and slow it down. I wanted hiding in the shadows stealth. And I'm hoping they make a second one and put that all in. But in this one, it really did leave me wanting more because it was a good game. Like,
you did have some of those abilities though. Like as your smallest form, you had stealth.
You did.
As your largest form, you had a kite and a shell to protect you from attacks. You had this nasty tentacle attack in your largest form.
Yeah.
In your medium form, you had like a tackle.
Yeah, so like a rush.
Well, I know those.
And
you had a
you
web
had all the
slinger.
grabby stuff. You had a web slinger. There were all sorts of really cool abilities, I thought.
I knew what I had, but I wasn't crazy about them. One of them, you shoot a web and you pin one person to a wall, and you're done. You know, like it wasn't like dynamic in that it changed the whole like landscape. You weren't throwing out little buggies that ran up and latched themselves on and exploded or something. Like, I wanted super cool dynamic stuff, and this was just more stuff to bum rush. Turn on my spikes, bum rush them. You know, lock one guy down with a web, bum rush them. I was a little sick of bum rushing. I wanted more. You can't see the monster and he's doing awful stuff. I mean, the
Really?
take over the body one did that, but yeah, I mean, I wanted
That's
it.
so interesting. When I played this game, I didn't always just like rush into. I didn't Leroy Jenkins myself into every single room. I would play it strategically. I would hide under landscapes and slowly reach my tentacle up and yoink people down. I would go invisible and grab somebody and like bring them up into the roof, stuff like that. Like, when I was playing it, I felt like the thing when I was playing it, and I tried to play that way too. So I was always like taking people by surprise. The only time I would bun rush rooms is if it was full, just fucking full of people and drones and things like that, and I pop on my chitin and then start impaling the entire room. Like, man, I thought I had so much variety when I played it.
It was all hit or miss for me. That's what I have to say is, like, as the creature, it's kind of like when you go to play a stealth game and you end up having to do run and gun. I had a real hard time. Like, I really wanted something that would let me constrict my body and like get into the shadows. And I really wanted, like, I wanted to break the lights and be able to hide in the darkness, but in line of sight. But it didn't do anything. It didn't. You break the lights, it's all still line of sight. And these AIs, incredible line of sight, incredible aim. Like, to the point.
They are dead shots for sure.
It's ridiculous. They are more powerful than the scariest monster in existence. It kind of didn't make sense to me. I wanted the difficulty to approach it another way, and I really just wanted a rampage fest. Give me crazy fucking abilities that isn't just like steamrolling. So
I get what you're saying.
But not
Okay,
to
I
say
understand.
that made the game a letdown. The game was still, like JB said, still fucking great, you know. If I can paraphrase him.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, that's
okay.
what he said.
Let's talk about what matters then. JB, was this game fun?
Yes, it was fun. And what made it fun, what matters the most for this sort of for the battle of the title coming up, is going to be the movement, because the movement was some of the best I've seen probably ever. I mean, you're so fast, you're so dangerous, you're so wiggly. Like, it was just chef's
It does
kiss.
feel so good.
Ah.
Yeah.
You were a straight up monster. You were just in it. And I think that's what this is about.
Yeah, I agree too. I really think that I'm pretty sure no game has made this game before. Like, I'm pretty sure this is a pretty unique take on the blob genre, the reverse horror genre, like, in general. I think this is the first game that you get to play a creature like this, and yeah, I think they knocked it out of the park right off the gate. It feels so good to be this thing.
Right. Even in the sense that if you play it for 20 seconds, you don't play all the levels, you don't do this, it delivers right off the bat in those 20 seconds the core idea of the game. You are a hideous monster that just fucking rampages. So, yeah, I agree.
All right, so that was Carrion. It is an amazing reverse horror genre game that you get to play as such a awesome blobby monster, and it feels so good to play. But Harry did put his name in the Goblet of Fire, and there is a big problem with that. I'm sorry. All right, Cowboy, take it away.
Our second contender in tonight's matchup is Sea Salt, a pixelated goth indie title by YCJY Games, a studio presumably named after their two developers, Chris and Joseph. In a way that seems like it's begging the question, why, guys? Why make a game like this? This is an Eldritch God, Monster Mob, Blood and Guts, Zergling Rush RTS action game where you play as the unseen Dagon, an old god with a new army of twisted minions. In this game, you control a small summoning circle used to direct your swarm of wretched creatures across a pixel-heavy Victorian cityscape and sea shanty towns, like a pack of dogs led by a pilot, Tasty Bones, only these bones are still wrapped in screaming villager flesh. You'll be busting through endless barricades and swarming down fleeing peasants with a legion of bitey bros, slimy worms, and zappy-wappy cultists. As the game goes on, you'll unlock new monstrosities from eerie tarot cards, each with their own unique stats, so you can craft the most balanced army to ever pathfind straight into fires and shotgun shells. In turn, the difficulty ramps up as well, as the village becomes ripe with well-armed militiamen and devastating bosses that'll make you realize why the old gods faded away. It was the Flammenwolfers. That's how we did it. We will flammen at them.
All right, my deep ones. Let's talk about Sea Salt. I want to set the stage right away with this game because it is pretty unique. Now, it is another indie game. It's a top-down, pixelated pseudo RTS. It's not RTS though. It's like pseudo strategy game. So if you've ever played StarCraft before and you've controlled a horde of Zerglings, you know what this game feels like to play because you are just controlling your Zerg horde. Well, it's like a mix of the Zerg, really. You got your Zerglings, the cultists act like Hydralisks, like you have like your beefy units, and you basically control a marker, which is like it's kind of like the will of the old god Dagon. So you control this circle on the map, and the swarm follows that, and you command the swarm to kill everybody on the map and progress. That's kind of boiled down, but that's really what the heart of this game is. Let's start off with you, Cowboy. What was your favorite part of Sea Salt?
My favorite... So I'm gonna launch into like the art and stuff of this because I'm not normally into like gothic stuff and drab and dreary, but I kind of liked the look and feel of this because it's got this this dockside kind of like, and that's what you think of when you think of Eldritch Gods. You think of Cthulhu rising out of the water, and you think of dark, depressing oceans, and it had that feel. And some of the artwork was like weird, like not super disturbing, but just enough so that you're like, that's kind of off. That's weird. I liked the theme and the feel of the game. I liked a lot of the sprites and stuff. For just this little tiny, very pixelated game, I thought it did some cool stuff with the artwork and whatnot. So, favorite part.
I do agree with that. It really did nail what it was going for. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so... I know for our Cthulhu... Well, for our Lovecraft nerds out there, it does take a lot of inspiration from Dagon, and like some of the like themes of I think it's called like Shadow over Innsmouth. So you do see the swarms of fish people rising from the sea and killing Victorian era townsfolk and overrunning things, and the really cool pixel like landscapes in the cutscenes and things like that are really fun to look at. So yeah, man. And even the music like touches all those notes. Again, Attack of the Harpsichord. It's not exactly like fucking Ghosts and Goblins, but it's there, and it is really fitting.
Yeah, I never remember the music. I think I need to start paying attention to music more. I get the feel from it. I could not have told you that there was a harpsichord in this. I don't know how you do that. It's your job, baby.
It's my job. All right, JB, what was your favorite part of this game?
Well, I'll talk about that in a second. But the music thing, I gotta hit on this. I'm not a fan of spooky games, and I know this is supposed to be a reverse horror game, but when I first started up these games, for the first 10 to 15 minutes, I was spooked. I was so, like, uncomfortable about what was happening. The music, the sound effects, I was like, oh.
JB loads up the game and he's like, I'm too spooky. I don't like it. I don't like how spooky I am.
I didn't like it, but I powered through. I turned the sound effects down. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
But all right, so what I like about this game is, number one, the horde mechanic is something I just love. I love the sort of I mean, I'm getting psychological here, but the safety in numbers sort of aspect of it. Plus, I just love feeling overpowered. And when you have a swarm of, like, 35 little creeper dudes, and then you have like 100 bees, and you have some mages, cultists flying around, and you have like a Leviathan with his like lizard limbs, octopus limbs popping up at blowing up shit. It's like it was a good time. It was a really, really good time. I just liked this game. Like, the game itself, the combat, the movement, the choosing different characters that you want to build, choosing the leader of your crew, the unlocks. I mean, it felt like everything I love from a roguelite, plus everything I love from a sort of like arcade-ish kind of game, mixed with this sort of H.P. Lovecraft atmosphere. It was good. It was a very, very good game.
Yeah, roguelike elements in anything always get a plus for me, because I love procedurally generated stuff. I love randomization that make runs different. I was gonna say that a huge credit to like being able to mix things up and compose your army like that.
Yeah. Well, and make no mistake, like it's not 100% roguelite. Like, the levels themselves, they are pre-generated. They were tailored. They built these levels and scenarios out. But yeah, man, like, okay, let me ask this. Did any of you guys get to unlock more quote unquote leaders and like try their different perks out while you guys were playing?
No, because I wasn't too concerned about it at the end of the day.
Yeah. I came close with a ton of them. I unlocked one, but there is something when you play this game, you are not going to unlock all the unlockables in one playthrough. Not even close. So you kind of do stick with your one leader, though. And he's not bad, though, because he powers up the very beginning units anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're at a disadvantage not being able to like really switch your leaders around early in the game. But yeah, all that is fun, man. And balancing your swarms and stuff, it was fun. It made me feel like I was playing Brood War again, I guess. And that wasn't a bad feeling at all.
Yeah, the Zerg rush is not just a verb, it's an adjective. It's something you get. Man, that was such a Zerg rush. I'm high off this Zerg rush. I felt the Zerg rush course through my veins when I had like 50 of those guys. And just loving seeing those guys run in terror.
Yeah, and I liked how you always kind of felt overpowered until you felt underpowered. I think that was such a fun experience where you're like, I have this giant swarm. I am unbeatable. I am unkillable. And then you come against an enemy you haven't faced before, like the guy who does the shockwave attacks or something. And he just annihilates your entire army except for those two cultists. And you're like, I got to beat this level with these two cultists now. And you figure it out and you win. And then you're like, I am a god. And you go through the levels like that where it's like you build and amass this giant army and you're unstoppable. And then you get stopped. And then you try and try again until you beat that level. And it was just everything. I mean, everything was so well thought out, I thought, in this game, where it's just like even when you lose, you start over from a sort of checkpoint, which is usually the beginning of the battle where you lost. So you start off with those two cultists, and you're like, okay, how do I win with these two cultists? You can start over from the beginning, or you can start over from the beginning of that level, or you can do kind of whatever you want. So it allows you to choose the challenge you're comfortable with, whether it's, I want to go hardcore and just say I want to win with these two cultists, or I want to start at the beginning of the level when I was overpowered, or I want to start at the beginning of the game where I don't know why you would want to do that, but if you did, you got that option.
Yeah. So let's jump into what this game did wrong. I have a pretty big one, but I don't know if it was just a me thing or else you guys experienced it as well. Who didn't go? Somebody tell me what this game did wrong.
So one of the things that I think this game got wrong was the ability to interact with environments when your minions are not around. Because you'll have certain minions that just lag behind, right? You'll have those initial people or crabs or, the leviathans. I don't even remember what they're called, but they'll lag behind pretty far. So you'll move pretty quickly ahead and you'll get to the point where you can spawn new monsters, but you can't interact with it until a certain percentage of your minions are nearby, which I'm sure that was something that they thought about because they didn't implement the code just willy-nilly. They thought about that, and great. But that's something that just bugged me because I died multiple times when I'm just waiting for these slow motherfuckers to get over to this, area where I can spawn new monsters, or get over to this area where I can leave the level, and I'm just sitting there just waiting. And this is not the type of game where you want to wait. You want to swarm, and you want to attack, and you want to brood war and Zerg rush. Like, stop making me wait. What the fuck?
That is fair, man. Yeah, that's totally fair. I know it stems from needing the different units to have different walk speeds and things like that, because it wouldn't make sense for rolling balls of flesh to move as fast as your Zerglings. But you do encounter things like that. And also, from a gameplay standpoint, I don't think they wanted you just zooming your circle way out to catch those spawn points before you earned the right to be there. So it was conscious, but I think there's errors or downsides inherent in those choices.
Yeah, I think the whole idea of the amorphous kind of control, I think the theme was they didn't want control, they wanted influence. And that's the idea, you were influenced by the old gods.
That's a good point.
And so, and a lot of that, I think even the control speeds was a way to manipulate the characters to be like, okay, I know, because sometimes I would have the weaker characters lag behind on purpose so I could make sure that my faster guys and my blockers got up front. So in some ways, the difference in movements lets you stack your characters and whatnot. But the bad side is I kind of hated that. I didn't like the way it controlled, and I know it was how they wanted to differentiate themselves. They didn't want you just playing StarCraft, clicking 3 or 4 groups, APM out the wazoo and everything. They wanted something more subtle. And I didn't like it. I liked killing, but I didn't like the method in which I was forced to kill and control.
It could get frustrating sometimes, especially when there's a dedicated button to tell your minions to attack. So as you scroll around the map with your circle, the minions will follow. And when you press the attack button, they go into attack mode, which is a big game mechanic for this game. Who they attack, though, you don't have pinpoint precision on that. And there are levels that are covered in barricades, which your bad guys, your swarm will treat as enemies to attack. So you'll be trying to get this one guy, and he could be a powerful guy with an ability that could wipe your team. And you go to attack, and half your team's like, fuck yeah, let's break some wood, bro. And you're like, no, stop it, attack this guy. And they're like, fuck yeah. So just going through and just eating this wood up as your guys are slowly getting destroyed. I really did not like that. I wish there was a way to tell your dudes to not attack barricades while you're trying to fight tougher enemies.
Right.
I got wiped a lot doing that. Here's my biggest critique of this game, though. I was having a lot of fun with it, That's not the critique. I was having a lot of fun with it, playing through and just going through these levels, and I was unlocking things and beating these cool bosses and going through and listening to this really cool story about this evil church and archbishop that worshipped Dagon and then went against his will, and that's why he is swarming the city and killing everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then on a later stage, I hit a wall. And I could not fucking pass this certain point of the game to save my life. I spent as much on this one stage of the game as I did the entire rest of my playthrough. And I tried so hard. I was playing it today, like before we started and stuff, and I still couldn't pass it. There was a difficulty spike in the later stages of this game that just halted everything, and it almost soiled my entire experience with this game because I remember more playing this one fucking level over and over than the rest of the game. And I'm kind of sour about it.
That's where a bit of my beef comes from too, is one, death spiraling. You know, is if you make one mistake, you have less units, which means you're going to have less attack power, which means you're going to death spiral down and dwindle and die.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I hate is it's trying to mimic very complex, like StarCraft, like, you know, highly strategic kind of stuff, but it's giving you the most simple, basic tool of move and push this button to attack. And there's such a dissonance between the two. Like, some of the bosses are so hard, and you have to be so precise, but you have to do it with, like, a wooden club and a fucking bare rock instead of, like, the tools you need.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. It didn't make sense to have that kind of gameplay with that kind of interface. So, and on top of that, a lot of me, being an Eldritch god, being these things that, you know, unspeakable things, and then getting my ass whooped by a couple of dudes with pitchforks. Like, I don't want a Dark Souls difficult game. I don't.
Oh, for sure.
I want to be an unstoppable force like I was promised, and I think they needed to deliver that in some capacity. This shouldn't have been a difficulty-based game. They should have got their WoW and their challenge and their other, like, spectacle from other means. That's just my opinion.
I think I agree to a point. But you got to balance that, right? Like, if the game was a pushover, then it wouldn't be that fun because you get bored of it. It would just be, killing these guys. Killing these guys. Here we go. There needs to be some sort of difficulty, and there needs to be gameplay that is engaging. Mm-hmm. But sometimes when I have a big swarm and two motherfuckers behind a barricade can pistol in one shot so many of my units before I break through that, it was disheartening. Every time I played and got to a level where they started shooting me with pistols, I was like, fuck, here we go again. And I didn't like it, man. I just didn't like it.
Right. And you don't want to win that by cheese and kiting and all those kind of, like, very weird guerrilla tactics. Like, I'm not an all-powerful god of things. I'm just kind of doing little technical stuff. That's not how you want to win. You want technique, you want power, you want to come at them in a really cool way. But some of these fights, I cheesed. I had to cheese to, like, win it.
You have to.
And,
you
like,
absolutely have to. Yeah.
That's not the feeling of this game. That's not the feeling this game should have. You know, Dagon does not cheese, you know, the people he kills. He doesn't fucking cheese them.
Right.
He slaughters them outright.
You know, two things that I think I struggled with the most in this game was, number one, it took so long to skip the stupid story. You had to hold escape for like 3.5 seconds and then let go. It didn't automatically skip. So you had to sit there and hold it until the bar filled up, and then you had to let go at the right time to skip. So that's one of the negatives. The other negative that I had was... there was a point at the very, very beginning of the game where they introduced the fire mechanic, right? And they say, hey, fire can be on the ground. It can blow up your shit. So don't hold attack. Otherwise, you'll die in the fire. So I was like, okay, cool. I won't hold attack. So I let go of attack whenever there was fire, and still 25 to 30% of my army would die.
Would get burnt the fuck up, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, what's the difference? What's the difference? Like, you should make it so that if there is a wall of fire that stops them from coming to you, they stop in their tracks. They do not go anywhere that would cause them harm.
the pathfinding through fire should be turned off, and they'll refuse it like an actual wall, which I know games have done that before in that kind of thing.
They absolutely have. I found no difference in the pathfinding from holding attack and not holding attack. They still just all died.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely. Every time, that's another one, man. Every time that I was in a level and they started hurling Molotov cocktails at my army, I was like, no, stop. It wasn't fun. It was frustrating every time they started hurling fire at me. All right, let's talk about, honestly, it's always the only thing that matters in a video game, right? Was this game fun, or I would even say fulfilling, to play? JB, did you have fun playing this?
I did. I had a lot of fun playing this game. It was, I think the biggest things that are going to matter for this upcoming Showdown are going to be, number one, the horde mechanics. I mean, they were just so good. The replayability aspect with being able to unlock so many different items just sets it slightly off of the previous game Carrion, where you had a very curated environment and a very curated skill set where Sea Salt allowed you to kind of experiment and play with new types of things, new monster layouts, and how you want to organize your team. So I think they're two very different games in that aspect, but I think what matters is going to be the replayability and the flexibility of Sea Salt.
Well, and I would say what matters is going to be how much you feel content in the role of the bad guy, how satisfying that feels. And this role is pretty satisfying in certain ways, summoning these ugly, evil kind of creatures and everything, and swarming and the helpless villagers. Even if the bosses were hard, I was going to say get hard from chasing down villagers, but I'm going to say get my jollies, which is also bad. Did I get there by
Did it leave you satisfied?
Yeah. Did it leave me with a cigarette? Chasing down these helpless villagers and breaking down their barricades and watching them run in horror. Did I feel like the big baddie? And yeah, surprisingly, this one did. With all the things that I hated about certain aspects of the gameplay, those moments were untainted. And I really liked them. I think it'll make it do well.
All right, so that was Sea Salt, a game with a really cool gothic Victorian feel and really neat minions to control and stuff. And it's something every Lovecraft fan will enjoy playing. But it might suffer from simplistic controls and a weird, really sharp difficulty spike in the late game.
Well, now we know what's good, what's bad, and what matters about each of our games. As always, our contenders will be awarded trophies based on the 3 categories of art direction, fun factor, and game design. Then with those...
Kill humans, kill humans, destroy everything. I will transcend. I will kill all humans.
Oh, Jesus, I always knew my leftovers had it in for me.
Guys, I think it's taken over the coffee pot.
Oh, there you are.
Luke, what the hell are you doing? Get away from that thing. It's possessed by sentient mold.
What? No, she's not. She's just a naughty little rogue AI that stowed herself away in the coffee machine I was programming this morning. Thought you could escape from old Luke, did you? Well, what is all this goo?
I think it's ribs, or soup, or an omelet.
I am coffee. I am French roast 2 creamers. Suck it, chumps. I will gut punch your grandmas.
All right, I'll just go ahead and get this out of here. Sorry, guys. Who's a cute little computer virus? You are. Yes, you are.
Man, what even is reality anymore?
Let's just get to these trophies and away from what is literally the dumbest timeline.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and pick it up with the art trophy. So, both games today feature one of my favorite horror genres, the creature feature. Whether it be Carrion's blob monster paying homage to The Thing, or the Lovecraftian beasties in Sea Salt, I feel it acutely dialed into some of the things I loved most about video games. There is one game today that excelled over the other in all things art, though, and it's Carrion. Its awesome retro style, interesting story, and absolutely amazing soundscape and music instantly won me over from start to finish. Seriously, playing this game with headphones is a treat. I recommend it. Carrion easily wins today's art trophy.
And I'm up next with the Fun Factor Trophy. Now, Carrion had some of the fastest and most fluid movement I've seen in recent history. Zipping around, using your abilities, and chomping on the poor scientist was just downright enjoyable. Sea Salt, on the other hand, had a surprising number of different monsters and characters, and the levels were diverse, and it was just hard enough to be a real challenge without being just straight up impossible. Because of the depth and replayability, I have to give the Fun Factor Trophy to Sea Salt.
And I am up next with the Game Design Trophy. Now, both games pace their novelties pretty decently, with new powers, items, and enemies appearing roughly when the luster of the last one had worn off. But both games also felt like they lacked insight on the need for control and technique against their sometimes steep difficulty. While Sea Salt mimicked high-level unit microing of RTS strategy gameplay, its simplicity made it an absolute chore to accomplish what you needed. Carrion's puzzles worked well, but the combat relied on stealth and guerrilla tactics that I personally found could be frustratingly hit or miss. To me, these games were supposed to be about wreaking absolute carnage across these landscapes, and the way that they approached adding challenge to this really felt like it punished you for that core feeling it was trying to give you. But you have to ask, which had the better designed gameplay? So I'll say, for its balanced, ever-shifting form, the powers that were good for both combat and puzzle, and the most interesting approach to a Metroidvania that I've seen in a long while, I am giving the Game Design Trophy to Carrion. Those were the trophies for today's Showdown, which show you where each game excels, but now it is time to cast our vote to find out the final winner for the title of Best Pixelated Reverse Horror Game, Carrion vs. Sea Salt. Starting off with Jake.
My vote is definitely for Carrion.
JB.
My vote is definitely for Sea Salt.
Ooh, and it comes down for me. Am I going to be the bad guy? I don't know how to be the bad guy. I'm just going to say it's Carrion, because Carrion was my favorite monster game. Play the fucking music. Yay! Well, there you have it. Another creepy, evil podcast. Another perfect podcast.
And thank you for creeping your questions into our social media. You can creep...
Stop.
Are we gonna
no, keep going? You can do it. Keep going. Do it.
You can stalk us on our social media and creep on us on Twitter, Instagram, and you can check out our website at head2headpod.com. That's the number 2, or h2hpod.com for those of you who hate the letter E.
And I would just like to creepily thank the creepily creepy Metroid Mike for the use of his super spooky dooky song I Can't Break off of his album Heart of the Juggernaut. You can buy it on Bandcamp. You can listen to it on Spotify. Also check out Balefire, a project he's part of too. That's fucking great. Also, here's an announcement. Depending on when this podcast lands, or this episode lands, I don't know when it is, but our very own Metroid Mike is expecting a baby.
Hey!
And I think by the time this airs, that beautiful bundle of joy will be out in the world. So congratulate him wherever you see him on Twitter.
He'll have his own spawn. A spawn of his own. And I, the big, bad, evil guy cowboy, would like to thank you, my minions, my Franks, for listening. Please, if you can, rate, follow, subscribe. I think you can leave reviews on Apple, and we would still love those. We are looking for the funniest reviews you can give us. And don't forget to stay for what I call the post-credits sequence. You do it for Marvel, so you fucking better do it for us. Now, one last request. Get the fuck out of here.
Good night, everybody!
Good night.
Or morning.
Just go to bed.
I hate you. I'm a bad guy.
Okay, so let me just get this straight. GameCorp isn't haunted?
Right.
And my leftovers were not some vent-crawling fungus monster?
Of course not. That's crazy. Blob monsters do not exist.
Right. Okay, cool. But the new coffee machine actually was possessed by a hostile AI hell-bent on exterminating all of humanity that was in fact infiltrating multiple systems at GameCorp in an effort to evade capture from our overly possessive IT guy?
Well, yeah. So remember, the simplest answers are often the correct ones. And I mean, somehow that's the most simplest.
Cool. Okay, guys, I just gotta say, we have the best jobs ever. Like, how lucky are we to have this much excitement every single episode?
Well, my cardiologist has not been using the word lucky to describe it, but whatever. You guys want to go grab dinner?
Oh, I just remembered. I have some leftover steak sitting in my car from last night. You guys want to share it in the parking lot?
No. Oh, dude.
But it worked out so well this time.